Let's move on to our next segment, the website engine room.
In this segment of the show, we'd love to recommend one app each or one software solution that can make life easier as a content creator and website manager. And what is your selection, Johnny, for episode 33?
Here is a really simple, quick win from an SEO point of view, a really low-hanging SEO fruit for you. And this is using Google Search Console. So the app is Google Search Console. That's nothing new, but it's one of the features in there that I'm going to recommend and one of the ways of using it. So what I'm going to suggest is having a look at the data in terms of the keywords, the phrases that are bringing traffic to your site, and doing a search. You can use a regular expression. I'll put some details in the show notes where you can search for questions. So any phrase that contains, for example, the word how, the word where, the word what. And then what you're looking to do is to filter those results and find any questions where you're typically ranking in position sort of 15 to 30. So that means typically page 2 or 3. So what you're doing is you're finding the questions that people are searching in Google, that Google is driving traffic to your website, and where you're ranking in position 15 to 30. And I've done this with a number of clients recently. Then all you do is start optimizing for those questions. So you find the page that ranks for it. You start optimizing it, adding perhaps a bit more content, making it a bit clearer that that is a question and that there's a very clear answer. And I've seen results where you can get to page 1 within only sort of 10 to 14 days, the bottom of page 1 very quickly. And so it's really quick wins, very simple. Google Search Console using a bit of custom regex to find those questions that people are searching where you're ranking 15 to 30, and you can get to page 1. That's my tip for this episode.
That's fantastic. Do you know, I'm always surprised that Google Search Console somehow is not necessarily top of mind compared to Google Analytics, for example. I don't know whether that's actually a fault on Google's part, whether they're not pushing that platform. The same with Google My Business. I think that's one of the small kind of secret weapon of sort, and it doesn't get enough profiling and visibility. So I'm glad you brought it back to the fore. I've gone back to AI for this one, and now some of you may remember that in earlier in episode of this podcast, I was a bit critical of AI powered actually image creators. You know, I was saying, yeah, it's okay, but actually it's a big waste of time because you don't like anything that it produces. But of course, it's getting better. Like a good bottle of French wine, with age and time, things are improving. But as predicted, the brands who already had an established, kind of position in the world of graphics and video editing are doing a lot better. So I want to talk about Adobe. And Adobe, it's not new, but they've re-released, if you will, Adobe Firefly. And Adobe Firefly allows you to use conversation style prompting and instructions to create new visuals. And I think for me, therefore, my kind of recommendation is to start to be a skilled a skill at writing those prompts and those briefs to get good visuals, because there will be a time, we're talking about weeks and months, Johnny, not years, where you'll be able to, for example, upload your brand guidelines, upload images of your logos and so on and so forth, and then request a number of visuals that can match your promotional social content. The one thing that I really like about Adobe Firefly is that the interface is really nice. It's not as clunky as, let's say, some newcomers in a marketplace. And you can do a number of things, such as removing elements within the photo. So you may have photo of a product or a service. Maybe it's your team, but there's somebody that doesn't belong, that just walked past, or there's elements that you want to remove. But also, there was one that was absolutely lovely, whereby you can extend the photo. So let's say you have a square image, and for your blog section, maybe, or for your products landing page, you need the picture to be more horizontal, for have more the shape of a rectangle. And AI can essentially guess what should be on the left and the right of the square and add the element. And honestly, it's really quite something, to see the additional part of the room that wasn't there, being added. So Adobe Firefly, to practice writing those great briefs and prompts to get good visuals for your website, ready for a time where it's going to be really, really powerful and you want to be ahead of the competition.
Great tip, great tip. I like it. I mean, it's the amount of evolving apps in terms of imagery. But you know, you've always got that core Adobe product where they invest a lot into their products, and it is worth looking at. It's a bit more expensive, but there's some good stuff in there.